in the psychosocial hazard. The other two aspects we looked at the shading and the shadowing, which was already mentioned. And we also looked at the time that children can spend outside, because not getting enough outside time during recess is a hazard in itself. And there is some literature on that. And again, that is in the phase 1 report. So to the extent that there may have to be a reduction of time that children spend outside because of noise and possibly dust, then that would be also considered a psychosocial hazard. So that's where that came in. And that's why it ended up being a medium hazard in the report.
I apologize for nothing to.
Hi, my name is Rebecca. I have 3 children who go to John Fisher in grade 1 and grade 3 and grade 5. And my question is directed to the TDSB. I read the letter that you posted this evening in 5 minutes on my way here on the subway. So I apologize if I misunderstood, but it sounded like TDSB was committing to fulfilling the conditions as outlined in the ECHO risk report to allow the students to continue at John Fisher doing construction. But what I'm hearing from you now is, well, that's part way, that some of the windows will be replaced, hopefully by September, that the school playground will be finished maybe by the fall. I don't know about the air conditioning. So instead of just my children going to school for the next 3, 4, 5 years beside a construction site, my children are now also going to be going to school in a construction site. So I would like to hear a commitment from you here now on camera to say that you will commit to having the mitigation measures in place at the school in full, all the windows, all the air conditioning, the relocation, the completion of the schoolyard by the start of school in September.
I think someone
Yes.
can understand.
Let him answer the question, please. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Please have, sir.
Should be in place.
Excuse me, sir.
Stop.
Sir. Please answer the question. If you wish to ask a question, please come to the mic. Everyone is welcome. Sir, everyone is welcome. This is an open forum. Let him answer the question.
Just for everyone's edification, I'm going to read what it says in our letter. It says, TDSB will comply with all mitigation measures that are within its control as outlined in the chart attached as Appendix B. I had it up on the screen. You didn't have the time to go through it. I understand you only had a couple hours to look at it, but you still have time to look at it. And if you have,
Answer the question!
if you have any issues and questions, you're free to send them in writing. We will address them as Q&As and post them on the school website.
Answer the question! Answer the question!
Let him answer the question.
You know, everything I say, you continue. Let me finish my answer, and then you'll get to full answer. So that's the first issue. We did not say that we would have the actual turf and the surrounding landscaping has nothing to do with mitigation measures. This is something that we're doing as part of the master plan, and what I said was that would be done in the fall. We're trying to have it done by September, but whether there was a development there or not, that would have been our schedule.
What about
So-
the windows? It's the windows I'm
The
most concerned about. The most important component is the west side. We have committed to doing.
Why?
Folks, can I finish my statement? The most important component is the west side. The other windows will be done later in the year as we progress to the.
If you have this money sitting in your capital budget, just waiting to be spent, spend it now on all the windows. Or tell us why, if you don't have the money to spend it, this is going ahead.
Is it a matter of money or?
Is it a matter of money or is it just a matter of
It's not a
incompetence?
matter of money, it's a matter of. It's not a matter of money, the money is there. It's a matter of logistically being able to do all of the windows within the span of a month and a half or 2 months.
Come on, let the construction.
Well, over here.
Question for the TDSB. I'm concerned about.
Your name, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris, I have students at John Fisher. I have concerns about the efficacy and timing of the survey that you are asking us to do. I have great concern. First of all, we just got dropped on us a process you were thinking about the French Connection, which just shows the weakness and inadequacy you attributed to actually identifying solutions to this. I also have concerns that the TDSB is now going to take our answers that we have to give you in a vacuum of information, that we have no real plan for us. You have no plan on how you're transporting our kids. You have no plan on timing. You have no plan on how the French Connection kids who have a span of far greater than a 15-minute bus stop window are going to be able to address the needs of the parents in this community who drop them off both pre and post school. And then you're going to ask us for a survey answer. You're then going to take that survey answer and use it against us to drive your positions on what you want rather than what we need. The survey until such time that they've given us all the information we need to make a legitimate answer.
So the question is, how will they deal with the survey in the absence of information you feel that you need? Is that correct?
Well, you're asking us to answer questions in the complete absence of any information at all. So then they're going to take that information and drive forward what they want to.
Okay, if I could, what kind of information do you require in order? Be specific. What information do you feel that you need to provide, or that hasn't been provided to you, that they can provide?
Well, we need all the information across the whole spectrum of what they're planning to do. So let's say they do decide to close the school. What's going to happen if the kids decide to stay in French Immersion? If we do move to Vaughan Road, where are the kids going to be bused to? How are they going to be dropped off and picked up at French Connection? French Connection runs from the end of school till 6 o'clock. Someone tonight just tossed out a window of 15 minutes, drop them off in an outdoor bus stop. Oh, well, accommodations, we're going to put adults on the bus to make sure they're safe. How is that in any way addressing the needs of us?
So if the school stays in its current location, I think people have a sense of how it's going to operate and how French Connection will operate. It'll continue to operate similar to how it's operating now. If the school moves to Vaughan Road, the students will be bused to Vaughan Road. It'll be similar to what is happening now. There might be slight changes in time. It'll predominantly be...
It's not slight.
It'll
not
be
slight.
School-to-school busing. Students congregate at their local school, similar to what happens now. There is flexibility in terms of setting the school start time and the school end time. So Marlene and Leanne can adjust the school start time and end time so that the bus pickup and bus drop-off times will be very similar to what they are now.
You make it
In
shorter.
terms of French Connection, we have several parties to work with. We have City of Toronto Children's Services, we have French Connection, we have the TDSB, we even have the province to work with. We are actively engaging the folks, and we've communicated as much as we have developed tonight. So we are considering those two options. A site within the Young Eglinton area and having the French Connection at Vaughan Road. I think the best that we can communicate with you right now is what I said. You know, there could be a central bus drop-off, that 15-minute window. It definitely has less flexibility than you're experiencing now, but this is the information we provide to you, and you can consider that in your survey response. If we go to, if we serve,
Just let, Chris, I'll let you come back. Let him finish. I'll let you come back.
and so we provided as much information as we have available to you tonight for you to consider for the survey.
Chris, follow?
Kids are in French Connection, so the parents have the flexibility. Now you want to put it at Vaughan Road. Nobody's going to Vaughan Road to pick up kids. especially if they live near and they walk to the school. It's an unrealistic expectation. If you're going to move the school and you're going to provide us with accommodations for those kids, then you need to figure out how you're going to accommodate those kids, both pre and post school, in this area, so parents can still drop them off and pick them up within walking distance, just like they do now.
Before.
And that's one of the options that's under.
Before we do the survey, though, we can't do the survey.
We need this information to do the survey.
I can't do the survey if I don't know where my kid's going.
You don't even have to offer the survey.
Sir, at this microphone, please.
Thank you. My name is Kevin McKay. I have 3 kids at the school also, a son in grade 5, 2 daughters, one in grade 3 and one in grade 1. I also live at 65 Blue Watt, which is a building right beside the school. My question is for the TDSB, and I think goes to some of the questions on resources that have been asked. We heard from the city. I believe there was a Section 37 agreement with the developer, something 1.1 million in that range for the city. For the TDSB, has there been any similar agreement with the developer for resources? As I understand, that's a common practice, and if not, why not?
Thank you for the question. No, there has not been any discussions with the developer at this point for funding of any type. We have, though, in the report that's been provided to us by our peer review consultant, we are looking at different means of controlling the impacts from the site. And if we believe there are things that we can do to change the operations of the developer, and we believe that it might be beneficial for us and potentially beneficial for the developer, I think we will approach the developer if we get the direction from our board, because our board ultimately gives us the authority to negotiate and to get into agreements. We traditionally, with any developments that are around our sites, traditionally what we do is we have tieback agreements where we allow the developer to go underneath our property and establish tiebacks, and they pay a fee for that. We allow them to do crane swings over our property, and they pay us a fee for that, and various other components of their construction management plan that might impact the school. Any sort of concessions that we do make, we do ask for appropriate compensation. At this point, we haven't done that. We've just gotten the risk assessment report. We want to assess it further, and if there is an opportunity for us to approach the developer, because we believe there should be contributions from them towards the funding that we require to deal with these issues, we'll go to our board of trustees and get the appropriate direction to do so.
Mr. Bassett, you want to
We, 2 years ago, we just completed a building across the street from Northern Secondary. As part of that Section 37 agreement, KNG contributed $500,000 towards the upgrade of the football field that was in need of a substantial upgrading. It worked out great, and we were at the ribbon cutting with Councilor Matlow, and the building was built, and the whole process worked out well. A couple of months ago, we posted online that there is going to be a contribution of $1.1 million that we're required to provide. And we were hopeful that a similar arrangement could be made. We don't control that. There's a process for that to be done. But it was our wish and our hope that at least that format could be used, or all of the money could be given to John Fisher for improvements. But that's a process, and that has to be looked at.
do you have a follow-up?
Yes, please. Thank you very much for those contributions that you're making in the Section 37. And so if I understand right, that 1.1 is going to the city for sidewalks and things like that, but not currently for John Fisher. And as we heard from Mary, you know, this is an 1880s building with a very long list of really urgent needs for upgrades both inside and outside, and it could be something very significant that can be done to mitigate this challenge of construction, to invest in that school for the education of the kids, not only now during construction, but in the future. There's so many needs in that building, and please, with the TDSB and yourselves, the request I think is from us, help make that old but very nice school a much better place for our kids, and it would, a little would go a long way.
Perhaps someone from the city would want to comment on something. Okay. Councilor Robinson, come on up.
So, let me just tell you how Section 37 works. It's very complex, and it's actually dictated by the province of Ontario. So there's very specific rules about how you use Section 37. You can't just go off and do this or that with it. It has to basically enhance the public realm, and it has to be accessible by everybody. The parties that were actually at the OMB determined the use of this fund, so where it was to be directed, which was streetscape improvements and trees in the Young Eglinton area. Because of the over-intensification that's happening here, we don't have much grass or trees left. So that was what the direction was from the parties that were doing the heavy lifting at the OMB through this process, which the parties were the Keewatin Neighbours, the Sherwood Park Residents Association, the City of Toronto, and the developer. So that was an outcome of an agreement of the parties that were at the OMB, who did the heavy lifting. I think the parents have shown such amazing activism and have mobilized and engaged that they deserve a cut of the pie, and I'm going to make sure that happens. But having said that, you can't use it internally in the school. It has to be something that everybody can enjoy and partake, i.e. a playground or a field. It's very, very regulated on how you use that fund. It has to be in the public interest. And so, for instance, you can't go say, oh, I've got a great community church in my ward, I'm going to give it to that church. So it's very specific how you use that 1.1. But I do think that if I went back to the parties that participated at the OMB, I'm sure they would be in agreement with me, and a couple of them are here tonight, that they would like to see some of the money to go to John Fisher, but it would have to be agreed upon by the parties, and then go to City Council to change the terms of what came out of the OMB. So, thank you for that.
Before I get to you, Matt, I have a couple of written questions and they can be grouped together. Sorry. This one is from Ellie or Eli. Phase 2 shows serious problems at the demolition stage. How about demolishing the existing buildings before school opens in September, or if that's too early, do the demolition during Christmas when the children are not there? There's another unside. Also, like basic. This one's from, it is my understanding that there are rules around the amount of breaks construction workers need to take. It can be mandated that construction workers take breaks during recess and lunch so that work stops when the kids are outside.
Demolition.
Well, I think I'll deal with the demolition, you guys can deal with the workers. In terms of the demolition, the approach that we want to take, if this development is going forward, we want to ensure the health and safety of the kids, the staff, and the visitors to that building. So ideally, you want as much of the construction activities which create the greatest impact on the school to be done at a time when the kids and the staff aren't around. So if we had our druthers and we knew that this development was going to be approved and go forward, we would like to see the demolition done in the summer. We would like to see any shoring that the developer is going to do it in the summer. Any caissons that they have to advance. Caissons are the piles that are driven into the ground to help with the shoring, to help with the foundations for the building. Those are the ones that create noise, create dust, create vibrations. Ideally, if this development's going forward, we would like to see it done in the summer. To get the demolition and all of that excavation work and ensuring work, et cetera, done in the summer, when the kids aren't there. So in terms of the demolition, whoever put that question, that's a valid concern. And that's what we prefer to do, is have it done in the summer when the kids aren't there.
Marvin, did you want to comment on demolition or specify?
I'm just gonna add one thing. It's okay, I'll take a look at my phone. We've got an existing building, which is an old sixplex, it's 50, 60 years old. It was decommissioned last year. All of the toxins, all of the innards of the building were removed last year. But I wanted to see what it said about the double pane windows. 3 or 4 days, that at the most. There isn't very much of it left. There are no toxins left. And backup to that was posted online for the rest of the year.
Construction breaks, any comments?
There are union regulations that outline more than 14 days.
Hi, my name is Anita. I have a child in grade 5. And I have a question for the TDSB for the differences. I just want to focus on one thing that I asked this question because I was John Fisher's position in my family. My priority would be for my child to graduate with parents that she loves and community and some Richard works in senior. However, I'm a parent and I have to plan and it's May. So this also engages questions about the survey. I don't understand why the option is only English. And the TSB has said that this is exceptional circumstances. I'll give you an example. I've reached out to John Ross and Glenview, both of which I'm in district for. For John Ross, I'm in district for late immersion. And they have both given me their standard policies. For John Ross, your kid can't do late immersion because they've done early immersion, even though those kids are streamed together at Glenview. Glenview has said, if you leave French, you're done. You can't do extended French. You can only do English. So if there's exceptional circumstances, how come the process of the TSB isn't broader in considering options about other ways that our children, like we are parents who have committed to French immersion education. Why are those options not being considered? And why is Glenview not being looped in? Kids in grade 5 are thinking, what happens if I leave? If you go to Bedford, you're done. You can't go to Glenview anymore. Glenview needs to be brought into the loop, and these kids need to be accommodated because we're only leaving because of what's happening, not by choice.
Those are great.
We don't have a solution for French for all 485 students at John Fisher. All the French programs in this area are full. The solution that we're offering for French
But you said all the English.
is to stay at John Fisher or to have the French immersion program go to Vaughan Road. So there is a French solution that we're offering, and it's going to be determined through the survey. Stay at John Fisher or go to Vaughan Road. But we don't physically have the space to offer 485 students French spots in the adjacent schools. With English, we have a number of schools to place students in. And as we've indicated on the school's website, we anticipate that the local school will be able to accept the students. That's anticipate. We don't know exactly until we get the counts of the kids who wish to return to the English schools. But we do know there is an issue with Eglinton. Eglinton is full. There's 200 John Fisher students who live in the Eglinton area, and we've indicated that Maurice, Cody, and Whitney would be the schools that we examined for placement. But we don't have the space at other French programs for all John Fisher students. We still are giving a French solution. It's John Fisher or Vaughan Road.
Sorry, but we've been told that the English schools are also full. So if places like John Ross are brought into the mix, it also spreads the kids around. And the other question is the Glenview issue. Why is Glenview not being brought into this planning process? I'm making a decision for next year that's going to impact on my child's eligibility to maybe go to Glenview or which stream she is in. Why can't Glenview take these kids into extended French on an exceptional basis, or allow people to do immersion on the side if their child wants to stay in the immersion program? I mean, you're giving us information about risks, but we have to make a decision that we personally feel comfortable with about our children.
That's right. please don't fall out. Let him answer the question, and I'll allow follow-up, because I think they're very good and fair questions. Sir, and then I'm going to go to a written question, and then you go over here.
Hi, my name's Clint. I have a son who's going to go to senior SK at John Fisher next year, and so I've also been in the construction development process for about 15 years, so please don't waste my time with kissing in my ear and telling me it's raining. So, first of all, Mr. Katz, my first question starts to you. Do you feel it's appropriate that the public is paying for the increases in your family's wealth and your return to investors by us having to pay for mitigation plans adjacent to properties that you are causing that require mitigation? You are building an asset in which you will get a return substantially for your family, as you said, it's a family office, as well to your investors. Do you think it's appropriate that public funds are required to mitigate construction that is being caused by your site?
I don't know how to answer that.
Let me rephrase. Okay. If construction was not happening to the adjacent property, a significant amount of mitigation would not be required, if any. You are constructing into a site adjacent to this property that, in order to assure the safety of those on that site, is being paid with public money. Do you feel that's appropriate, considering at the end of the day, you and your investors are going to make returns from this asset? You are not doing this pro bono.
I didn't understand what you, I've got it now. The school's 130 years old. In the ECHO report, it said that the windows don't close properly, the doors don't close properly, the windows don't have weather stripping, and on and on. What they're dealing with is deferred capital improvements, which they've said.
Excuse me. Let him answer the question.
The issues they're dealing with are deferred capital improvements. That is their decision to make as to whether they want to do them or not.
Okay, let's go to cause and effect then on that. If your site creates noise to a point in which it affects the hearing of underdeveloped children because of their age attending the school, are you not the cause, or are you going to blame it on deficient windows on a property that is adjacent?
Our noise study clearly indicates by some of the best experts in Canada there will be no impact. ECHO took it a step further.
Have you ever been next to a construction site? I know you have. You've been on
For 45 years.
If your workers on site are required to wear noise headgear, then how can children on the other side of hoarding that is made of plywood? Let's go. 15 years, don't waste my time. If you don't want to answer, just choose not to answer. So I assume, do you feel it's appropriate that
Sir,
public money?
do you want to answer the question?
I would like the answer to the first question. Let me clarify.
Let him answer.
There are three sets of engineers that have given their opinions on the noise matter. There is ECHO, there are our group, and there is the peer review. And all of them have come to the same conclusions pretty well. We haven't seen each other's modeling and so forth, but they're all certainly in the same conclusions. So you're questioning three sets of independent engineers.
She said the medium social.
Required.
Okay, well, let's be careful about the term independent.
Well,
Said the medium.
So, no, my question, my original question
Psychosocial
was,
risk,
okay, so aside from the windows,
Stress.
one part, the relocations of the parking lots, the playgrounds, and the TDSB having to erect their own hoarding in order to ensure safety. Do you think it's appropriate that public funds be spent on that and not your investors or your own money?
So the master plan that the TDSB is presenting tonight was a public I think, a year and a half ago. And this is their plan that they have developed over a period of a long period of time. This was not
the question.
Let him answer the question.
And but you're saying the plan was going to be done independent of you doing the construction?
That was my understanding of it, yes.
Including the hoarding wall?
Can I ask my second question? It's for the peer reviewer. Okay, I find your comment on setbacks to be honest an insult, okay? The fact is setbacks will, yes, speed up construction. That will support the KG group, saving more finance costs. It'll also significantly reduce the cost to the KG group to dig the foundation, make the setbacks short, and put in their foundation. Okay? That benefits the KG group by millions. Okay? So the fact that you would identify that, which would be a step that would significantly increase the noise and vibrations to the children in the school as the tiebacks are put underneath it, because there's no way those tiebacks are going to be done before school starts, is just insulting. So my question is just how you came to the conclusion of recommending setbacks.
Tiebacks.
Tiebacks.
Because they shorten the construction period significantly, and when there's a shorter construction period, obviously there's no noise from construction during those safe months. And there's a lot more drilling without tiebacks, a lot larger drilling.
Yes, but not drilling underneath the TDSB property.
No, not drilling into the TSP property, but the drilling in the machine is in the excavation. The extra caissons that have to be drilled are drilled from the surface, so that's loud. But in larger machines that are using tiebacks.
I think that answers the question. You asked two questions. If you have more questions, I'm going to ask you in the fairness to other people who are waiting. If you have a written question, you can come back to the microphone. I have some written questions, and one was really intriguing to me. This is from Gabby, who's a grade 5 student. So I'm going to read her question. I am a grade 5 student at John Fisher Public School. I would like it if I could have my last graduation year at the actual John Fisher School. And with all of the kids and staff that I grew up with, I like our community. My question is, what about the noise? I heard that the noise is going to be too loud for us to be able to have our full recess time. How do we get our physical activity? We are still kids and still need a lot of time outside. If this building is going to affect our activity, how will you fix it? Gabby, thank you.
Well done, Gabby.
So who wants to take Gabby's question first?
Good question. Grade 5? We're in an academic discussion, if you'll allow me for a moment. To establish decibel levels, you take a jackhammer, you take the distance of, let's say, 15 meters, and you equate that sound and transmit it across the playground. You agree? So when ECHO came up with the, I believe, and we haven't seen their methodology, and we haven't seen their modeling, but I'm assuming, from my experience, that when they come up with that number, the number they came up with in the playground, I believe, was 60.
We said that in the playground to the east of, assuming the playground is moved to the east of the school, it would be below the benchmark we're using of 55. But in the area on the west side, it would be above. And we had to make assumptions. We don't know. And we put in the report what the assumptions are because we don't know the actual equipment that you're using and what its noise emission characteristics are. We had to assume typical use for the phase of construction.
The point I'm trying to make is that even the worst case scenario, if we take
Typical.
No.
Typical.
Please let him answer the question.
If he uses the words.
they take the worst case scenario and then
Typical.
translate that across the entire property. If you look at the construction schedule in our CMP, you'll understand that from commencement, which hopefully is this summer, it will take us almost a year to go down during the excavation and come back up to grade. That your school, very little of the noise once we're past the initial stages in the summertime would actually get to the school or the playground, because we'll be below grade, and the earth and the embankments will act as significant buffers, any noise that will take place. The only difficult period will be in the second school year, when we would go from above grade and then the tower. As the tower goes up, as Gal pointed out earlier, the glazing will go on following 6 or 8 floors. So once the glazing goes up, the building is contained. There is no noise at that point. This is all in the building. So the noise levels during the construction itself of the tower are not that significant because the mass of the building, dilutes the amount of noise separation that is generated. And then distance as well. So to summarize what I'm saying is that the worst case scenario is taken by echo. It really won't happen once past the summer of the years of really start the summer. That would be great for everyone. And beyond that, we're going to be a year before we're back up to grade. I hope that's
Okay, I'm gonna let Gabby follow up.
I have a brother and I have friends and there's other kids at school. And like the other guy said, also there are kids with other special needs and hearing problems. And when the noise is happening, it says I'm not there, it's not me, it's still not going to happen. Other kids are going to get affected by it. We're still, like I said, kids and we run around and play and we have playgrounds, we have fun, but when there's not going to be any playgrounds and we're going to be on the other side or whatever, it may be different. It may be harder for us to like have enough room and other things. So like thank you for answering the question, but it's not just me that's affecting, it's the other kids in the school and all 500
Gabby,
go ahead.
Gabby, please come and visit us all the time. You're terrific.
Okay, just clarification. The daycare closes at 9:45, and we must be out at a hard stop at 10 o'clock. Just let me know. I'm going to ask because there's 4 questions that are the same or similar, and they all deal with one of the subjects that raised. So I'm going to pose it. Will there be a third party on site to monitor and document the instructor's daily activities as recommended by the phase 2 completed by ECHO? Another question. Who will pay for the third party monitoring the risk assessment recommendations on a daily basis? Third question. Sorry. Can you please clarify the next steps in the mitigation plan? Will there be a third party involved and on-site daily basis as per the ECHO report? How will you both be held accountable? I think we need to know the details of this plan prior to the survey. Fourth question, and this was to the TDSB. Why has the TDSB decided to use a cooperative approach to monitoring the risk assessment? Clearly recommended that an independent third party monitor be on site for daily review. 4 very similar questions. Okay, go ahead.
On-site monitoring. The laws of the province of Ontario set up different layers of monitoring for a construction site. There is provincial oversight, safety inspectors and things like that. There is municipal, City of Toronto, who have building inspectors and a wide range of different inspectors, storm, water, so forth. There's a number of them. But over and above that, the City of Toronto requires the consultants who are on the job, architects, engineers, there's a myriad of them, to sign certification of inspection. They will have to be there weekly, and they will have to supply reports to the city within 30 days every month. If there is a variance, and if it is not observed and corrected, they would lose and not reported. They would lose their license. They would lose their livelihood. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. There is intensive monitoring. There's intensive monitoring that goes on multiple levels.
Yeah, who's paying for third party?
We pay for all the monitoring on the site.
No, well, the
Why does
question,
the city allow
the
this construction
question
to
was,
start before all the litigations
Why-
for its
why-
first stage?
okay, so the question is, is there going to be for
Daily.
tomorrow?
We're inventing something, so I have to understand what we're talking about.
Yes.
We will ensure, we're gonna have our own inspector on site. We haven't determined if it'll be on a daily basis. We still need to have further discussions with both City of Toronto staff and the developer to determine what monitoring the developer will be doing, what frequency, and then we will try to fill in the gaps to ensure that there is consistent monitoring on the site. We're looking at potentially having mechanisms installed that can monitor things such as vibrations, and dust and other things.
I don't think that's what he said. I don't think that's, to be fair,
We still need to have further discussions with the other stakeholders to determine what kind of monitoring they're doing and how we need to fill in the gaps. Will we have we will have third-party monitoring, whether it's on a daily basis, weekly basis, that will be determined as we conclude our discussions.
The most important part of the report is that they don't think it's safe to stay in the school.
Correct.
It's not on-site daily monitoring.
Correct.
Working on that, and we will ensure that there's the appropriate monitoring. As I said, we will fill in the gaps. If there aren't third-party monitors from the developer, we will fill in the gaps with either
he's trying to answer the question.
I think of that.
Okay. Sorry, but before you two, I was just told that some of the kids in the daycare are getting a little aggressive.
Some of the kids in here are getting a little.
Sorry.
Well, so I want to speak a little bit to accountability. My name is Ian Cooper. Other than Jay Robinson, I think anybody in that front row on the panel who I've dealt with probably doesn't like me much. Which is fine by me.
We like you.
So what I want to say is we've heard a lot about what KG is going to do, what the TDSB is potentially going to do. We got a list as we walked in the door. I know we got an email at 5:30, but a lot of us have day jobs and children to deal with. So we have this list of things that we're committed to do. What we don't have is a lot of accountability. So we just heard from Marvin right now, and I saw Michael Stewart somewhere in the lobby, so if he wants to weigh in, you can get your money's worth out of him. But I'm looking at all the parties involved in this. We've got the city, we've got KG Group, we've got the TDSB, and we've got Delterra. And we have a number of parties that seem to be working together. We've got a report from Michael that is a wonderful statement of limitations and nice limitation of liability in it. Kudos to you. But at the end of the day, we have a whole bunch of measures that people say we're going to do. So we've heard from Marvin Katz that, yes, the city has bylaws, and we have architects, and we have engineers.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can we get to a question?
Yeah, we're going to get to the question. Absolutely. I would like somebody to, I'm going to map out a scenario, and somebody can tell me if I'm wrong here. So we've heard about daily vibration monitoring. We do know that the city has a vibration bylaw. We know that the vibrations may dislodge the asbestos if it's not removed before construction starts and create a potential environmental hazard in the building. We also know that the city doesn't have a noise bylaw. We've heard from Angelos that we're going to double clean windows on the west side, but not the north side. We've been told by Angelos that the west side is all that really matters, but we have a risk report from the ECHO that tells us in very clear terms that the decibel levels that would be heard on the north side of the school would be nearly identical to the west side. So I guess my question is, both at the level of day-to-day management, what is going to happen when there's violation, when somebody doesn't do something, when we have bylaws that don't even exist around noise, but we have some vague sense of what an acceptable level is, when work doesn't get done? And I want to map out one final scenario that I think It's probably worth.
Can we answer the question?
We can, but I'd like to map out one important scenario and make sure that we're aware of it, which is liability. So if a worker is killed on this site, we know that Delterra will have liability under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. We know that KG Group might as well. And what that means is the directors of those companies, for the people who don't know in this room, have personal liability and potential criminal liability. If one of the children is killed or injured, or multiple children are killed or injured at the school, then the families have recourse to the laws of negligence. And this building, I presume, Martin Katz can correct me if I'm wrong, or ask Michael Stewart to do it for him, that we have a single-purpose company that owns this building with an insurance policy, the amount of which and details of which we do not know. But the one thing that we do know is that the directors of KG Group, hold on, and Delterra won't have liability. Final question. Is Delterra the services company? Does it have actual assets, or is it judgment proof? Who is actually going to be accountable when the things that are promised don't get done?
So there were two questions. One about vibration, and the other about
I want to actually focus on the broader question of accountability and what's going to happen when the promises that have been made in this room are not properly implemented or are just frankly broken.
So fair enough, enforcement and compliance question.
I should probably reach you. Okay. In terms of financial liability, it's a horrific example that you've painted, and one that in 45 years I have never experienced. So to the best of my knowledge, Delterra, which is Tridel, I think they're 70 or 80 years now that family's in business. They've never had that experience either. But to your question about liability, if a catastrophic, horrific example that you described were to occur, and someone was to sue Delterra, they're our GC. So you will sue over, as you well know, you're a lawyer, and you'll go back beyond that to 18 Erskine Avenue. Well, 18 Erskine Avenue owns the land.
It owns the land and will own a partially constructed building that has a lawsuit.
Yes.
I just want to be clear. I know, I just want to be clear on what we're talking about.
18 Erskine Avenue owns an incredibly valuable piece of land, and every dollar that goes into that will increase the value of the asset. So, in the hypothetical, catastrophic example that you outlined, there is a lot of equity there. There's a lot of recourse there. So, to your question, is it a shell company? No.
No, it's a single purpose though, correct?
Right. But it has a huge amount of equity in it. Huge.
And you do acknowledge, just to be clear, that the Occupational Health and Safety Act sets a higher standard for potential injuries to the workers involved on the site than the children at the school.
I have to ask Michael Stewart that. You got me out of my
I find that hard to believe, but okay.
I'm going to go over here.
I did want to talk a little about the micro questions of the other broken promises, which we seem to not address.
Okay, well, you know, if you don't interrupt, and then we are going to let this lady who's going to patiently ask her question.
So to your question about the noise. Okay.
As an example, a tin monitor for vibration. Excuse me, what's the name of it called? HGC Engineering, which is a third-party consulting firm, even though they are retained by us, will be monitoring on site. So if any vibration monitoring levels are exceeded by their standards, they have the right to walk right into the construction superintendent's office and say stop construction activities and modify them until those levels are brought back down.
But not the obligation to the students at the school, just to be clear.
No, they're monitoring outside within the zone of influence.
Oh, no, I understand that, but you said they have the right to walk in. I think the challenge for everyone in this room is who actually will enforce.
That's what they're mandated to do. Right?
And noise.
Noise controls, again, as Marvin has explained to you, that the majority of the noise is going down to the excavation. Once you're down to the excavation, it's good, huge buffering zones. Huge buffering zones.
That's not what we heard from Etienne. You are aware there are classrooms in the basement of the school, correct?
I don't know where the gentleman got this information from. We have 3 engineers, and to be fair, we have a lot of people who are waiting to ask
Okay, that's fine, but also to be clear, ECHO did say very specific things about noise around the site.
That was,
We have
that was,
those
that
numbers.
was the high, that was the high on their chart. That was the highest risk.
It actually was measured in decibels, if anyone wants to read the report.
Yeah. Here, just pull it down. Hit up, there you go. Yeah.
Hello, my name's Alfred Heyman. I have a 6-year-old son named Thomas who attends John Fisher. I also live across from Bedford Park School, so making the decision to send my child, put my child on a bus and send him to John Fisher is a big one. And I have a number of questions, but I know our time is limited, so I'm going to ask 2. And I hope that the answers can help everyone here try to make an informed decision about what to do next year. The first one is something that Chen mentioned, is about noise. There are very contradictory presentations and statements being made about where it is safe for children to play on the playground. The TDSB, if you want to pull it up, the TDSB map shows a playground on the west side of the school where the ECHO report indicates that the decibel level is above acceptable limits when the children are outdoors. The north, there's no discussion in the report about volume levels or sound, the noise levels in the north portion of the playground where the new turf is going to be built and where the field is currently located. So I guess my first question is it safe for the children to play in the north portion of the school ground? And what would the noise there be within the acceptable range? And I guess to the TDSB, where are you going to put the playground that you currently have envisioned in that western quadrant, since it's obviously according to ECHO not safe to be put where you're planning to put it? So that's my first thing. The second question was a small one. It's about indoor air quality. That was also a risk factor that was listed as in the medium category. You indicated that putting air conditioning in will help keep dust out, but as a result, there'll be no opportunity, and the windows will be closed, so there'll be no opportunity to get fresh air in the building. So I'm wondering, how do we deal with that? Will there be times we can open the windows on the weekends or something to refresh the air? Because you indicated that as a fairly significant risk. So those are big concerns I have about sending my kids to school next year. The noise and potential risk, psychosocial harm you indicated may flow from that, anxiety. This is a big issue. So noise and air quality. If you can answer those questions, I appreciate it.
Good question.
I can start with the last question that was asked. In terms of the air conditioning, there is a certain amount of fresh air, and I'm going to look to our fellows in the front here who are our construction experts and our health and safety experts, but there is a small component of fresh air that is introduced into the system so that you're not continuously circulating stale air. We will do that in a manner that will be at times when there is no dust in the area, on weekends, at times when we will not be introducing air that has potential particles in it that would be detrimental to the air quality in the building. The other questions,
The playground. There's a major problem with the playground.
I'll leave that to ECHO.
You're quite right, that when we looked at the noise in the playground, we said that if you move the playground to the east end, that it will be low enough there to meet the benchmarks. Whereas in the west area, given the assumptions, it would be high. Now, I just want to remind you about the assumptions that we had to make, because we did not get the information about the noise emitting characteristics, which equipment would be used at any one time, the duration of using it. So it's true, we had to make certain assumptions, and we based that on very authoritative sources of the kinds of equipment that are used on construction sites. But we did not have the particulars, how long they would be used in this particular situation. So, well may be that, KG Group has given us examples of things that might reduce that noise, but we had to base our risk assessment on these assumptions, because that was only fair in terms of looking at, we might say it's the worst case, but a typical case. So it may be lower on that side, but it's true that our projections based on those assumptions said that it could be above.
That's how she
Yeah, and in terms of the field that you mentioned, sorry, we did not do those calculations, we can't do that. It is quite a bit farther away than the area on the west side of the school that we looked at, so we would expect the noise to be much lower in that area.
Matt, you're gonna have the last question of the night, and I've got three similar ones that I'll read, and we do have to get there when the time is over.
David, can I just say that if there are further questions, and I see there are people lined up at the mics, please send your questions in through the school, and we will receive the questions and do Q&As and post them on the school website. So please don't feel that at the end of this meeting, that's the end of your opportunity to ask questions. We will entertain any further questions you have and post them on the school website.
Yeah? Do you have a question?
I just want, it's going to be two-part. To follow up on Allison's question, it's where I talked last night, about the playground, and Dr. Ohm, in your report, you referenced the East Park playground as the safe place to play, and that's a teacher's parking lot. So I just want to make it perfectly clear, we're throwing around terms like East and West, and we need to be very specific. The teacher's parking lot in the future master plan is intended to be a play area, but that would fit maybe 50 kids. We have 485 children that need to play outdoors, and need to all play safely in what's now the mud pit, which will hopefully soon be turf if I trust the word. And this play structure, our new play structures that are being taken away from us because of development, they will now be in an area that I hope is safe for them to play. It's still not clear. So I think that all needs to be clarified. So I have 3 pages of questions I can't get to it, and since I'm last, I'm going to close with I think the most obvious thing here is there are gaps, and we still have a ton of questions. The risk assessment by ECHO, the report that we received by Walters tonight at 5:30, which was promised to us to receive in advance of tonight's meeting. There's still too many things that are unknown to be proceeding with this construction project right now to ensure this health, safety, and the quality of education for our children. Why are we rushing?
Wait a year. Why not wait a year?
Perspective, I have 2 children in the school, like Allison, my youngest is in JK. Due to joining the siblings at John Fisher next year, I want more than anything to have all 3 kids in one place. But it baffles me to send my 4.5-year-old to a school for the next 7 years that's going to be living through construction and then living with a 35-story tower. It just doesn't seem right, and we should be at Bedford down the street. But that would also serve a French immersion education, which my family believes so strongly.
I don't, it's something of a rhetorical question. I mean, I don't know how.
What's the time equitable to the parents of TSB, the KG group, we need more time with the city to work out the details of this construction project.
Wait a year.
So, I'm gonna kind of, there's 3 questions related to the survey that parents have asked, well, that I'd like to ask on their behalf as well. From Amanda, why are the students who will be attending John Fisher in September in SK not considered? In the survey, we currently have 1 child at SK and John Fisher, and 2 additional children accepted for September 2017. And we should be able to fill out the survey for them. We're considering this decision for all of our children who are supposed to be at John Fisher finally, from PETA or PETA. In regards to the survey, the option of the bond school, no mention has been made to all the construction that will be required to retrofit the building. So how can the school be offered as a viable option when it itself is not ready to take the kids for September? Not to mention, the hours bus ride daily children will be required if this school is selected. And another one from Helen, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Why are we not being given the option to send our children to another French immersion school? We choose to send our kids to French immersion. Why has this not been taken as a priority? So those were 3 questions regarding the survey, regarding the placement options that I really thought ought to be put. So I'm going to ask.
I'll take the first one in terms of, and then Andrew can take the ones related to planning. But the ones in terms of the facility renovations that would be required at Vaughan to to accept the kids from John Fisher. If we are given direction by our planning department based on the results of the survey that Vaughan is the chosen school for relocation of the John Fisher French immersion program, we have enough time in the summer to do the appropriate renovations that are required to receive the kids of that particular age group.
Okay, that was one question. And, sorry, Andrew?
The French immersion question we've already answered, that we don't have a solution for all 485 students to treat them all the same, treat them all in the French immersion solution outside of John Fisher or on.
And the question about the family who has more than one child, some who are coming, why are they not being allowed to reflect that in the survey?
So to date, we've identified the current John Fisher students as the one to have the survey response from. We haven't considered the ones who would be going there next year.
Okay, before Griffin Rush, this is your wallet, so please, if you're clear, I want you to make sure you get all your ID.
Okay, Dave, I'd just like to add to my last comment.
Yep.
If people have a comment that they wish to give us, there is an opportunity through the survey to tell us that. There's going to be an open text.
How are they going
Okay, you can't.
Can I ask a question on the windows, because it seems to be something that people are focused on. So, two big takeaways from what I read at the center today is that for indoor air quality, you need new windows, double pane with good seals, and then there's the air conditioning concept. Why are they window air conditioning units? You would think that you would want to have sealed windows, double pane, and maybe a ductless air conditioning unit. I don't even know anyone who installs window air conditioning units anymore because they're terribly inefficient. They let in a lot of noise from outside because you can't seal them properly. Ductless air conditioning units mount on the outside. You have a tube that goes through, say, the grout of the building, and they're very efficient. So it seems to me like this is a cost-saving measure, which is, by doing that, eliminating, one, it's eliminating air quality issues, and two, it's introducing excess sound into the building. Just secondly, on the windows, why would it take so long to install the windows? If you get a company with a couple of crews, you're talking 2 weeks. Like, I can't figure out how this is.
College affairs manager, he is our systems facilities officer that's in charge of construction, maintenance, and design. Two questions. The first one about the condition.
Can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So for the first question regarding the AC, we're looking at, because the amount of power that we need for the school right now, it's not sufficient. So we have to get more power from the street to the school in order to add all these air conditioning units. There is one project that we are doing in the gym where it would be permanent cooling center. We are doing that for, we try to do it for all the schools in the board. So we're taking the opportunity, we're going to do that as a permanent. For the air conditioning will be a temporary air conditioning. So we have the two options, as the gentleman just said. We either windows or we have a split unit. It's easier and faster to put the AC units on the windows. And we can, and really it is for.
Yes, if you read the report, they recommend either those types of units or a centralized system. So,
Completely neutral on that. I think that is a TDSB decision. Our concern was that there being direct quality.
Yeah, the report said it was better to have central.
Wouldn't it affect noise if you didn't have? But it's windows? sufficient.
But we did say that the central air conditioning was better, but we did not force them to choose one over the other, but we did give a preference of one over the other.
Okay, we really have unfortunately reached our stop. I know there are a lot more questions. Just hold on. I know there's a lot more questions that people have, quite a few of you, and there were additional written questions. We have a hard stop. There's opportunity.
Who's kicking us out?
There's no opportunity to ask
additional questions.
Who's kicking us out?
And I know that they would be delighted to be able to see those questions, to answer them, to post them.
David, who's kicking us out? David, who's kicking us out?
So
then they can make an overriding decision to keep us here.
Can we ask a final question?
Why is it fun?
We already know it's a 10 o'clock stop, and that's normally what happens when we're in a school, we have a hard stop. So let's not fight that one. Everybody talks about safety. It's starting to feel like a motherhood statement. The TDSB says it, our elected officials, the TDSB are supposed to be, our representatives say it. The KG group says it, the number one priority. The city staff says it. It's starting to feel a bit like a motherhood statement. The risk assessment is based on, I heard it tonight, a lot of assumptions. One example, the whole noise thing, part of it is caused by the fact that the KG group never did a noise modeling study. Why can we not see a picture of the property outlining where the levels of noise are supposed to be? I do not understand how the TDSB is thinking about relocating kids and then saying they're safe here, their hearing's going to be fine, but kind of over there, maybe they're not. Why is there no noise modeling study? So there are all these assumptions, but here's the bottom line. The bottom line. The risk assessment says that without a credible third party monitoring on a daily basis with enforcement authority, and an enforcement authority is not a ticket, it's not a slap on the wrist, it's not, hey Bob, you can't put your truck on the sidewalk this time. So here's my question, and end with penalties. So here's my question to KG Group. Will you commit to entering into a contractual agreement for third-party daily monitoring with enforcement authority and significant penalties for violation?
As I explained earlier this evening, we have to commit to that. There are multiple levels.
That sounds like no.
Oh, hold on, nobody interrupted you, man. Let me answer the question.
It's a yes or no
Yes or
question.
no? Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Don't be a politician, you're not a politician.
Let's be fair. Nobody interrupted while you asked the question, and just
All
let
I'm asking for is at the end of his explanation,
Mary,
I would like a yes
Mary,
or no.
Well, I know that's what you'd like. Let him answer. He did not tell you how to ask the question. I don't think it's fair for you to tell him how to answer. Come on. Let him answer the question. Let him answer. Let him answer the question.
As I said earlier this evening, there are multiple levels of third-party observation and control and shutdown capacity that we have to accept and sign on to. There are multiple ones. Not one, many.
It's already yes.
There is the province of Ontario. There is the city of Toronto. There is every consulting engineer that's involved in the process who will sign and monitor it. There are multiple levels of control.
One of the reasons that we're so angry with you is because, for example, I read your entire mitigation report, and I thought I wouldn't be able to understand it because I'm not an engineer and I'm not a lawyer. just a mom, right? But there it is on page 8 in your traffic mitigation plan. You reference the Kiss and Ride program. That is a John Fisher initiative, of which I volunteered for 2 years to try to move people away from Keewatin. You are all lovely, but many of them didn't even listen to me. How am I responsible for your traffic? It doesn't make any sense. So, when we read it as a mom, I see such a huge irresponsible thing on page 10. How can I then trust the rest of the 700 pages?
Okay.
Nico, you did a good job because you called them out on that. The Eagle report called them out on that. They said the John Fisher Kiss and Ride is just a voluntary program.
I didn't read the 700 pages, I read the actual book.
Someone should read it all.
Hold it. We are really on a hard stop at 10 o'clock. It is 10 o'clock. I want to thank you for coming. There is opportunity as well to ask additional questions.
Parents, until we get more answers, I am asking you all, please do not sign and send in that survey. We do not have an answer.